Hi. We're back May 2022 and we're back with another The Qualpet Conversation is what we're calling our new show. We have a series coming up in the month of May, and so we'll be doing a series of shows. And I know I said before that we would do this show every single day, and we're doing it every single day, 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. But you know, with a company, with a vision, with a mission in life, it's an evolving thing, right? You keep changing, you keep not changing, you keep evolving, and hopefully getting better. So here we are with a new series we're starting this May. We've gone through quite a bit of introspection and looking into the company, and you know, I've been trying for the past, since the year started, since January. And I take the blame for this. I've been trying to put together a core team of people who would help us build this thing, right? Because our goal is huge, and I'm going to talk about that today, because we're setting out on it. This is a new series coming up. All month we're going to be talking about Sim's book and why we exist, why the Qualpet Life, why Qualpet Corporation, why I'm doing the things I'm doing, why my shareholders are with me, walking this journey. It's because of a vision that we have and a mission that we have, and today I want to talk about that. But let me just make sure that the technology is okay. If Mano or Shindin or somebody's listening, Simone, maybe my sister, is the kids, let me know if the sound and the audio and everything is okay, you guys. So let's just make sure the technical side of it is okay. We go on with the show. Today we have an important show. Okay, good. Thank you, Manu. Thank you, my ever faithful friend, brother in Christ, and business partner, shareholder in Qualpet, Manu. We've grown to be. I'm very selective. I invite to this platform that we're building. I invite a lot of people. Everybody I meet, I would say, come on board with us. It's a great journey. It's beautiful. It's absolutely amazing. Come with us. Let's enjoy this walk, this journey. But very few stay the course. You know, people get overwhelmed because we're big. I mean, we have 18 websites in our company, and we're book publishing, media, lifestyle, and we even have a what do you call it? A housing company for futuristic housing and all those things. Smart homes, but very few stay the course with us, and I want to publicly say thank you, Manu, that you've stayed the course, and a great future is ahead of us. So today I really want to launch a series. I want to launch a series which we're calling the Qualpet Conversation, and it's on the screen there. The Qualpet Conversation is the name of the show for this month. We might change it next month, but for this month, the Qualpet Conversation. And what we're doing is, the reason we exist, the reason we do all the things that we do and go through all the, how should I say, heartache and headache and everything to make this thing a successful platform, is we're setting out to change the conversation of what it means to be a human being. And let me repeat that. We're setting out to change the conversation of what it means to be a human being. And the people who have been talking to me would say to you either, talking to me is an experience that they don't want to have, or some people would say, I love talking to that guy and what he says is different, but everybody would say it's different because I set out to be exotic and different and extraordinary. We don't want to live the extraordinary. We don't want to live the ordinary life, but the extraordinary life, right? Because each human being, we believe in we believe in the human being being an extraordinary life form on the face of the earth. So we're big thinkers. So we're starting out this month of May 2022 to carry out a campaign. We're carrying out a campaign. So we're launching a new series of the Qualpet Conversation or the Qualpet Life Talk Show about authoring your future. And the reason we're doing it is today I'm going to explain what I mean by all this on this show. So hopefully you join us. If you get your family, friends, whoever, join us, because this conversation is going to be, well, it's more of a monologue, I guess, because I get feedback from people, but it's not really a dialogue. It's more of a conversation. But it's a conversation with the audience, right? With you guys. So I feel that what we say, because we do the hard work in this company, which I don't like to call a company, I like to call it a movement. I like to call it a mission that we have. We do the hard work. We actually do the hard work. We do the reading, because remember, life is about knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? Life is about knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. I know we live in a world that says, oh, life is about money, and you gotta work, and you gotta pay bills. And I keep remembering this story. When I just migrated to Canada, I met this guy, well, a couple of years after I migrated. I have a friend, and he has a mutual friend, called, I won't say his name, and that guy said to me, what do you do? And I said, oh, I'm a writer. And he was, back then I was big into journalism, right? Newspapers and stuff. And this guy said to me, writer? How can you be a writer? There's no money in writing. I said, what do you do? He said, oh, I'm a contractor who does construction. So he fixes people's basement and, you know, renovates house and that kind of thing. And he was making tons of money. This was in the 90s. And I'm happy for him that he was making money. That's not the issue. The issue is, well, how do you live your life? Do you say money is the overriding factor in my value system, in how I choose to live? We are thinking differently, right? It's not that money is not important. Of course money is important. You can't pay your bills if you don't have. The economics of life is one pillar of life. The main foundation of life, we believe, is knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And it comes simply, if you look at human beings from the moment we're born, as a baby, as a child, we have to accumulate knowledge. Knowledge how to walk, knowledge how to talk. Of course, we imitate our parents and the society around us, and eventually we start imitating the culture, we imitate how people dress, we imitate the religion, and we become conformist human beings. At the end of the day, it's all based on knowledge. How do you live as a human being? How do you live in the society that you're born into? You gotta accumulate that knowledge. It's a form of knowledge. And so we believe that the foundation for the human life, for human existence on the face of this earth, is we have to go after knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And so we do that. We do the hard work. We wake up in the morning, and that's what the whole morning is spent: reading, writing, thinking, mapping things out. And even when we're not on the live, communicating with the public, so to speak, we're doing the work in the background. Because there's a lot of when you're building something, the unseen is more important than the seen. And we live in a world that a lot of people, especially social media, a lot of people put out an image there. And it's important. It's important to put out an image. It's important to cultivate a brand of who you are and what you're all about. I mean, even people who go get a job, they have to, put on an image and dress right and do well with the interview and be nice to their co-workers and blah blah blah. Play the corporate politics. But even in society with culture and stuff, we gotta play that game of having that image where people accept us and we're part of society and we're not an outcast or something. But even the people who are rebels and who don't like to conform, eventually they become part of a group, right? Eventually they will conform. But what we are bringing to the table, and this is what I want to talk about today, we're launching a new series this month. And why we are doing the things we're doing is because we believe that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is the most important thing in life. Most important. You could be poor, you could be starving, you could be, nobody in life. An ordinary person, as ordinary as anybody comes. But if you keep reading, if you keep accumulating knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and you keep doing that day by day, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever it is, over time, you would see a vast leap in your life. I'm testimony to that. A lot of people who achieve great things in life, they had to be readers. They had to be accumulators. Readers are not just readers. We read not only for entertainment. I don't subscribe to the adage that says read to be entertained. You watch movies to be entertained. You listen to music to be entertained. Why do you read? You read to accumulate wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, to know how to live this life, right? To know what is the best way, what is the best path, what are the best choices to make. The foundational, the very foundation structure of life is the power to choose. It's power to choose to create. This is something I need to write a whole paper on, or maybe eventually develop it into a book. The power to choose to create. We have the power to choose to create the life that we want, but we don't. We have the power to choose to create the family we want. We have the power to choose to create the friendships we want. We have the power to choose to create the kind of relationships that will make it work for us. And so we've been working in Qualpet, for example, over the past, for the whole year since January, to bring a team of people around us, a core team. And I've been able to get at least two people who are really, whose heart was open to the vision of what Qualpet is all about. And I'll talk about what the vision of Qualpet is all about. What the vision is really is Sims Books. Sims Books means Simple Multimedia Smart Book. Because we believe so much in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, we thought, okay, so where can people, human beings, acquire wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, which is the one place that they could go and be able to freely, without having to pay an arm and a leg, without having to go to university and all that. How can the average person, no matter your state in life, acquire wisdom and knowledge and understanding, to learn, to develop this, to be empowered, to make the choices that would create the life that we want, that you want, that I want, right? Because at the end of the day, every human being wants a certain kind of life, and they don't have that certain kind of life. They don't have their dreams coming true. A lot of people feel trapped by their economic situation, by their family situation, by the society they live in, by having to conform to what the world wants them to be instead of who they want to be. So we looked into all of this and we said, okay, what is it that would give people, would empower people? Let me make sure that I don't get a notice that my technology is off the wall. Okay, great. Thank you, man. Beautiful. So we want people to get this, right? That wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is the fundamental key to life. You could work for however much money you want. You could work for fame and fortune. But at the end of the day, even actors, even millionaires, even billionaires, all the billionaires will tell you, the 3,000 billionaires in the world today will tell you, they do not become billionaires or even millionaires without reading, without developing. Now a lot of people lock it out. They fall into some lucky situation where they might do a real estate deal and make some money, or do some cryptocurrency or something and they make a couple million. But those people don't contribute to society. They're accumulators, they're gatherers, they're get what I can. I'm talking about living as a human being, caring about society, living for some values. It's important to accumulate wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So once we decided that this is what life is all about, and we ourselves live that lifestyle, then we had to look to see how can we bring this about for the average human being, right? How can we open up this avenue? Because you give. Life is about giving, not about getting. We live to give, right? And so if we get an insight, get an enlightenment, get an epiphany, we want to share it. And this is why we do the live show too, right? We need to market it, we need to get it wrapped into a good social media. I have people who are helping with social media now. Behind the scenes, we're doing a lot of work in book clubs and stuff. But eventually, we're gonna go public with all these things. But I really want to emphasize that we zero in, we focus in on that point that life is all about knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, not necessarily about money or anything else. The way you empower yourself as a human being is with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. It's with living intelligently, especially in the digital age. We have to live intelligently in the digital age. So much is available to us as human beings. We're empowered, but we don't do anything with it. We let all the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding just go, get busy. Doing what? Like B.H. Lawrence says in his poem, The Machine, we become like machines. We run, we active, we become busy for chicken feed. We're like chickens running all over the place, scratching in the ground, and the eagle flies very calmly above the heavens, and that's what we should be, like the eagle. Not like chickens scratching around, so busy looking for worms. We could be eagles flying, looking for one big opportunity, you know. But anyway, I just want to emphasize this fact that we believe in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And so we looked into what is the one place people could go. Where could people go to accumulate wisdom, knowledge, and understanding? And of course, the only place, the greatest device invented by man, by humanity, is the book. The book has enlightened man, educated man, caused humanity, caused civilization to mushroom and to really grow, right? And we live in a world today of technology and knowledge and justice and political democracy, despite the war in Ukraine and Russia. I mean, the world system has its aberrations and it's breaking down, but at the back of it is a lot of civilized human behavior. And that only came about because of books. And so we decided that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is the only thing to live for, and the way to live for that is through books. Is through reading and writing and publishing. You gotta share your thoughts, right? You gotta share who you are. You gotta self-express. Remember in previous videos, by the way, let me plug that. Go on our YouTube videos. We have about 80, 90, maybe 100 videos. Watch as much as you can. And we talk there about self-care, self-development, self-expression, self-mastery, self-transcendence, which is what we need to do. As we need to develop the self. The self, I'm reading Eric Fromm's book, Escape from Freedom, and he makes a solid point. He said, Eric Fromm wrote in his book that rationally, man has developed. We can think. We were able to think. Now, not the average person, right? Like Doug Engelbart said, we need to augment human intellect because the average person is plain old dumb. You could be mad at me for saying that, but it's true. The average human being is absolutely dumb. They have no idea how to live this life. This is why we want to make a difference. Not that we know better, but we do the hard work. We do the studies and we delve into knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. I don't read books and literature for entertainment. I read to know life, and it's a pleasurable thing. It's a very pleasurable thing to read books, but you do it to learn. You don't do it for entertainment. I know the book industry loves to say, "Oh, we are a branch of the entertainment industry." Not true. You're a branch of the educating and edifying industry. So when we looked at where can people go to find knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, the only answer we came up with was that books, have been the highest achievement of humankind. Books have been the highest achievement of humankind. And so we want to point people to books. Like the richest man back in the 1920s was the steel magnate, Andrew Carnegie. And he took his wealth, like Bill Gates now is giving away his wealth. This guy, Andrew Carnegie, who was the richest man back then, he's the guy who invented things like aluminum utensils and all those things. He really revolutionized the industry of steel and construction and aluminum and stuff. And this guy took his money, when he got old of course, and built libraries, public libraries. You see a public library in your community? It was possible because Andrew Carnegie took his money. He was the richest man in the world back in the 1920s, 1930s, before World War II, and he built public libraries across the face of the earth, thinking this would be the greatest contribution to humanity, which it was. I spent my whole, I'm weird, I'm such a nerd. My teenage years were not spent in clubs and all those things. My teenage years were spent in the public library in Georgetown, Guyana, where every single day I would be there. I would be reading deep literature, T.S. Eliot and Marlowe and all those books. I'd be sitting in the library because in the 80s, when I'm giving away my age here, when I was in high school and stuff, you couldn't import books into Guyana. It was banned. Not banned, but there was no foreign exchange to bring in books, and so you couldn't like go to a bookstore and buy books. That's how I grew up. You couldn't go to a bookstore and buy books, and so I used to go to the public library and sit there for hours and hours and hours and read these books, and it was a beautiful gift. Like I thank the heavens that I became enthralled with books and stuff. But now in my life, what do we do with this, right? So I live for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Number one. Number two is we decided that the human being can only acquire wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of life. The word understanding is very, very important. A lot of people don't grasp how important understanding stuff is. You gotta understand things. Knowledge is one thing. I mean, people have a specialized knowledge. You could be an electrician and have knowledge about electrical stuff. But what is important is your understanding of things. How does electricity, what can you do with electricity? What can you invent? What can you turn into? Understanding is a key goal we should aim for in life. And so we decided that books are the important thing. And we developed the whole company, the Quality Life Corporation, and Future Stars Media, which is our media platform to carry out the vision of Quality Life Corporation. And then, of course, we have our magazine, and we have People Today newspaper online, and headline sites, and all those things. We have e-commerce sites, we have courses, all those things we're developing. And of course, it's a hard road. It's not. Don't think starting a company, being founder of a company, is not an easy thing. For me, I'm not a people person. People who know me will tell you I'm not really a people person. So it's hard for me to go get a team and stuff. I mean, the few people who believe in me and invested in the company and are my friends, I'm very thankful for. But most people would say, I'm trying to put together a core team who would take this thing beyond what I can do, because I'm limited, right? There's only so much. The founder can go a certain level. After that, you need a bigger team, a board of advisors, a management team and all that. But I need a core team who would believe in the vision and say, let's set out, this is the vision, let's set out that every human being online that we can touch their lives. We want them to be conscious and to be awoken to the fact that they could write and publish a book. Now, we know the publishing industry, how it works. The publishing industry is hard. Our company has been allocated 1,000 ISBN numbers from the Canadian government. So we're sitting on a minefield of intellectual property, intellectual assets. But a lot of people wouldn't go and write and publish a book. And come to us and say, hey, you guys have a publishing company, I want to get my book out. We don't get a flood of people wanting to produce or write or publish their own book. Because people have stories. Every human being has a dramatic narrative. Your whole life is a dramatic narrative. And even your dreams and aspirations for the future is a dramatic story in itself. You want to write it, you want to declare it, you want to put it out into the world. But the publishing industry doesn't encourage that. The publishing industry doesn't encourage us to develop books and put it out there. We have instead the world we live in is a world that says, go pay the bank mortgage for 40 years, 30 years, 25 years, whatever, and try to own a house. And then when you own the house, of course, you got taxes and you got this expense and that expense, but spend your whole life doing that. It's ridiculous. When you think of how the human being lives today, it's totally ridiculous. Then they say to us, go get a car and spend 5 years to pay for that car. I'm talking the average human being. And work at a job and pay your bills. And that's life, that's it. At 65, you're going to retire and you're going to take your money and go on a 2-week vacation. Enjoy yourself. Maybe if you're not sick, if you're not tired, if you're not old, and your bones are falling apart, then you can enjoy your retirement. So here's where we come in. We're at the cusp in history right now. What is going on in, let me see the time, how much time we have. The show is an hour, so we go for an hour. Okay, we have time. So let me just quickly say this. We're at the cusp of humongous changes in the world system, in the world order. The George Bush Sr. and Obama and Reagan, even a whole bunch of people used to talk about it, Clinton and everybody, about the New World Order. That New World Order is now being implemented. And so the Great Reset, we are aligning our company to promote, I know a lot of people might be upset with me saying this, but we're aligning our company to promote the Great Reset of Charles or Schwab, who runs the World Economic Forum. We're setting up our company to promote the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. And we're setting up our company to promote the Clean Climate Agenda that came out of COP26 last November in Glasgow, England. We're setting up our company to bring these things about. In other words, to transform the global system, the world system. You know why? It has not been working. Why do I say it hasn't been working? It hasn't been working for the simple reason that, here's the thing. What does it mean to be a human being? How the world has been in my parents' generation, in my own generation, in my my kids' generation, in generations before my grandparents' generation, was the world system working? Is the world system working right now? It isn't. We gotta face that fact that what it means to be a human being, what we see in the world is an extremely flawed concept, a very, very failed concept of what it means to be a human being. Now here's where we're setting out to make a difference. We want to change the conversation. As much as possible, we're setting out, everybody I talk to, you can ask the people who I talk to, communicate with me and you will see yourself if we haven't been in touch. You talk to me or you deal with our company, we're going to change your viewpoints. We're going to change your mindset. We're going to change the conversation. Not because we're better or we know better. No, not at all. But because we do the hard work. We do the smart work actually. Not the hard work. We do the smart work. We study and we know what it takes in this 21st century as Elon Musk and Bill Gates and Bezos and Jack Ma in China and all these guys are building out a future of humanity, as the new world order is coming into being, as the Great Reset is slowly happening with a lot of anguish, as the clean climate agenda evolves very slowly. We are aligning ourselves with this new vision of what it means to be a human being. What it means to be a human being is simply we're the highest form of life. Maybe below the angels, but on earth, in physical life, we're the highest form of life. And if you believe you're the highest form of life in the grand scheme of the universe, why do you live a small life? Why do you want to make chicken feed money and pay bills and say, oh, I need a nice car, I need a nice house, and the real estate industry plunges and you say, oh, what is going on with my equity in my house? It's going down. You know, within the past 2 weeks, houses in Canada, Toronto, Ontario, I'm talking about, I think BC as well, lost over $100,000 in equity. Every house over $1 million lost over $100,000 in equity. The price just dropped 22%. So people are living with these myths and these delusions and these illusions, thinking this is what it means for me to be a human being, ignoring the fact that since 1962, this guy, Doug Engelbart, wrote a paper and says we need to augment human intellect. And Vannevar Bush, since 1941 or 42, 45 maybe, after World War II. We talked about this before. The Oppenheimer project, Vannevar Bush was head of the team that made the hydrogen bomb that blew up Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And this guy came out of that experience and he said, no, this is not humanity. We need to make people smarter. And he wrote a paper called As We May Think. Since 1945 and then 1962, Doug Engelbart's paper, Augmenting Human Intellect. And now we're in 2022. And still, the average human being is not augmented in his or her intellect. We're setting out to change the conversation. We want, as a company, yes, our goal is big. Yes, we're crazy. Yes, we believe we can change the world. Yes, we're not. Why exist on this earth unless you set out to do something grand and big and beautiful? In the human heart, your heart and my heart, in our heart beats a divine spirit. We look up. We always look up. We want to go to heaven. Nobody says, let me look down and I'm going to go destroy myself in hell. Of course people do that. They're mentally deranged people. But the normal human being, the average human being, you could be whatever in life. You always look up and dream and say, only if I could fly. Man, thousands of years thought if I could be the birds and fly, and then the Wright brothers came and invented airplanes. And now we could fly. And we invented cars and we invented all these great things. You know why? To augment the human being, to make us better than we were before, to lift us out of a primitive lifestyle, to lift us out of the cave mentality into a heavenly mentality. And so this is the presupposition with which we live and we exist, and we're building this platform, this beautiful platform. So what are we doing? The Quadruped Life is our mindset training program. It's our encouragement to people. We have a whole series of things that we're rolling out where we encourage the individual. Remember from previous shows, you know, I won't go into this now, but our value system is the individual. We believe in the individual. We're not out there to change mass society. One person is who we care about. We care about you, and we care about your future and what it means for you to be a human being. The optimum potential of you as this amazing life form called a human being, self-aware, self-conscious, ready to take on amazing things. Look what man has created on the face of this earth. Are you any different than Einstein or even the biblical, you know, the Bible, which I believe is the textbook of life, and I follow it as the textbook of life, says that even the great men of the Bible, Moses and David and Paul and Peter and John, all the big disciples, they weren't super spiritual people. They were like you and me, same thing. Blood in your veins, skin on your bones, flesh in your body. But they had a spirit and a soul, and you have a spirit, and you have a soul, and you have a body. Our great need and dream, we live in despair because we don't believe that we have this dream in us to fly, to go, to look up to the heavens and say, I'm a divine being. This spark is in us, and we as a company want to ignite that spark in you, in us, in everybody. That in us is this divine spark. And we want to ignite it, that we will rise, you know. Let me tell you a quick story. Yesterday I went down to the beach, the park on the lake, sitting in the car, reading, and some people came to the shore, to the beach, on the sand, and they were doing some kind of crazy memorial for somebody who passed away. But what they did, they had these balloon things, little balloon things, and it had a fire thing, and you light a fire under it, maybe a candle or something in there, some gas thing. But the hot air, of course, hot air rises, right? So the hot air would heat the balloon, and you had like a dozen, maybe 20 balloons floating in the air, floating up, and I'm looking at this thing, I'm, you know, at the park reading, and I'm observing these people. I'm thinking, that's the human soul, that's the human spirit. We look up, we want to rise. Somebody died, and all your friends and their family said, we don't want this soul of this person, the spirit of this person to descend into some, you know, ordinary ground, and we want to see them lifted up to the heavens. And so they symbolically released all these balloons in the air. Not balloons, but well, they were made with, I think, white. They were white, and they were made with some kind of fabric. But when the hot air heated, it was beautiful, really nice to see. Not balloons in terms of balloons at party. These were actually like balloons that people go up with in the air. I don't know how to explain it, but you get my point, right? It came to me that we are as human beings, we aspire up. We don't aspire to fail. We don't aspire to go down. We aspire to go up. And because we aspire to go up, there is that spark in us that we must listen to and stop stifling. Because, you know, our culture, society, in school, parents, whoever, they say to us, religious leaders, they say to us, oh, you know, just live like everybody else. This is what society is. That's the phrase. This is what society is. And so we give up on our dreams. We give up on our aspirations. We give up on transcending, on self-transcendence, which is a term I will deal with on a different program. So we looked at all these things, and we say in Qualped, what do? The Qualped life is to train you in the abundant mindset, to train you in this way of being, to always look up and aspire up, and to transcend this mortal place of earth with all its struggles and its angst and its despair. Life is every human being. People say they suffer depression and anxiety and frustration and all that. No. Every human being suffers from something called despair. The life that we live is despair. Why? Because we look up, but gravity traps us, and we don't know what to do. Of course, there are answers, but the average human being doesn't go out and get the answers. So we are setting out to change the conversation on 3 levels for each individual that we come across. Let me quickly mention, I was talking about our value system. Individual. We believe in the individual. We don't go after mass changes. The whole of society, they're going to deal, the politicians and the corrupt politicians and the lawyers and stuff will deal with that. We are about the individual transformation. That's what we're about. And we believe in the individual being an original person. Don't go copying, don't go conforming to this and that. You have something original in you, we want to bring that out. We want to make it manifest in the world. And the third thing is, so the individual who is original, but always thinking not of the past. We don't want people to be caught and trapped in the past. This was my life, this was my family, this was my tribe, this was my nation. A lot of people say, oh, I'm from this nation and I'm this nationality and this is my passport, and they put their identity in that. That's not your identity. Your identity is a human being. Wherever country you are from or passport that you have happens to be your geographical location, where you reside. It's not your identity. Your identity is you're a human being. Despite the color of your skin or your religion or your age or whatever it is, we are human beings. So we have set out to develop this lifestyle system for people to tap into that spark which is in each individual and find their original dream, their original aspiration, and then develop that aspiration for a future life. Not a life that looks back in the past and say, oh, I'm going to write a biography. We don't believe in writing a biography. I mean, yes, there's a place for it. But our kind of book company, and I'm going to get into that now, is not about writing about the past or the present. It's not about the way traditional books have been done. We're changing the conversation. What we're talking about, and you're going to hear me talk a lot about this, that we're changing the conversation on 3 levels. I'll get into that before we wrap up the show. We are setting out for each individual to find the original dream, aspiration that is in their heart, in their soul, in their spirit, and then they express it, they write it, whoever the individual is, like we're doing as well, would write it and would publish it in a format that we invented. So we had to invent this format because the traditional publishing companies would not publish your book. They don't care unless you're a famous author, a famous person, or a famous, you can bring a whole audience to buy your books. The publishing companies are not interested. Even the movie companies like Netflix and all that, the system is so warped that they only deal with the top 1% or 5%, whatever it is, of human beings. The average human being, nobody cares about. Nobody cares about. You could go about paying bills, paying your taxes, living a good life, and get old and suffer, and nobody cares unless you become famous, or you accumulate a lot of riches, or you become powerful in the society. Nobody cares. We're setting out to change that. We want to change the conversation for the average human being, whereby you can look inside of you with this thing we call it Pulpit Life, which is a system, a lifestyle system, and find that spark which brings out your dream, your aspirations, the life that you would love to live. And then we're not promising you that you would get that life. You might be aiming to be a billionaire. We can't make you become a billionaire. We're not setting out to do that. Here's what we're setting out to do, however. We are saying if you write your dream with our AI, or we have an AI writer, and now you tell the AI writer, this is my book, this is what it's about, and it's going to write your book. And we'll show you the whole process. We want to work with individuals like that. And this whole month we're setting up this series of these shows to bring out this message, to get the message out, right? So we believe that you can write your story, but not your story based on your past or your present life, but based on what you aspire your future to be, what you dream of your future. And you can declare, you can invent the kind of life that you want to live, but you might not have it manifested right away. The physical world doesn't work like that. The physical world, things take time, right? So you gotta give it time. But what you can do right away is write and publish and declare. This is important. You write and publish a declaration of the life that you want, that you aspire to, that you dream of, because when you write it out, it becomes real. It's a blueprint. It's like an architect drawing a blueprint for a building. Once that blueprint is made, the building will be built. Once your blueprint is written out and declared to the world, and you say, this is why we do the show. We're declaring who we're setting out to be. And in making that declaration, we have to with integrity, live up to our word. Because we're promising you, we're promising our shareholders, we're promising you, the public, the individuals who come aligned with us, that what we're setting out to do, what we're inventing, this platform that we're inventing, and the platform is this. Let me say this, and I'm going to talk a lot about this over the next month. That every human being on the face of the planet, of this earth, from this generation going forward, must write and publish a book in the form of what we invented. We invented something called a Sims book, which is simple, it's multimedia, and it's smart, and it's digital. It could be printed as well. So print is part of it. So with the Sims book, you go into your life. We coach you in this in our program called the Qualified Life, and out of the Qualified Life, you develop a blueprint. You develop a story. You develop a narrative, not as things have happened to you, not as the narrative has been in your past, because we had no control over our parents' choices and our grandparents and our generations gone back. But we have power. We have power now to make the choices for ourselves, for our future generations, right? And so if we can declare, this is the life I see, this is my possibility, this is the solution I want to give to the world, this is a problem I would like my life to be lived, to solve for humanity. No matter, listen, you set out with big goals, and the objective is not to necessarily to achieve those goals, but to live the process, the journey of those goals. Live a visionary life. It's beautiful. It's amazing. No matter what failures come along the way, when you wake up focused on a vision, and that's your path, it's the most joyous thing, peaceful thing ever. And if people don't align to it, then let them go. Let them go. I've been trying to put together a core team for our company. A lot of people don't even show up. They don't show up. They don't care. The little things in life get in their way, and they give up on any big dream that even they have. They don't even believe their own dreams. We have invented Sims book for people to write and declare to the world, this is the life that I want. This is the life that I love. This is what I see as a possibility. We coach you through this lifestyle system called Qualified Life, how to do that, how to come up with that blueprint. And then you put that blueprint in a Sims book. And the Sims book becomes not only your declaration to the world of who you want to be, of who you are, of who you're setting out to be, of the life that you want to live, and declaring it, this is my life plan, this is my blueprint, this is the life I'm going to have 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 3 years from now, 2 years from now, 6 months from now, whatever time frame you put to it. And you have different time frames, because it's like your life is a project, and it should be like project planning. So you scope it up, right? In different time frame, different goals, all that we teach you, and we coach you through. It's a fascinating journey. And so this month, what we're doing is, I know for years I've been promising I'm going to bring out samples of Sims books. We didn't release it yet because, for a very simple reason, it's trademark. And if you're not powerful enough when you release something, you lose the market, right? You lose the leader board. You're not leading anymore. Somebody could come and take it over for the wrong reason. They come and take it over because they want to make money, or they want to, just do it for superficial reasons. We want to make a difference in your life. We want to change the conversation. And here's the conversation we want to change. We're going to end in 10 minutes. The conversation that we want to change is in your head, in our own head, or what we call self-talk. People call it thinking. That's how messed up this world is. That's why we need a great reset. And we need the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, 19 goals to be implemented. And we need the Clean Climate Agenda. The simple reason is people walk around thinking that you're thinking, believing that you're thinking, when all they're doing is having self-talk. So a running monologue is going on in your mind, and they call it worry, and they call it dreaming, and they call it anxiety, and they call it hope, and they call it different things they call it. But it's these words, the language that we know, living in that small dimension of what they know that they know. The bigger dimension of what they don't know that they don't know, nobody cares. They won't read a book. They won't watch movies and with a critical eye. When I say critical eye, like a literary criticism. They won't delve into the deep things of life. They just live. And this self-talk, this self-conversation that is going on, this monologue that is inside their head, they're thinking, oh, this is what life is all about. This is happening to me. So that's one conversation we want to change. The conversation that goes on inside somebody's, in their monologue, in their running story that they invent and come up with. Not because they're inventive, but because they're reactive. They react to what happened to them in life and everything. They think if they walk and hit their hand on the doorknob, they say, oh, something's wrong with me, I'm bad lucky. They create a whole story about something that simply happened. It was a fact, you hit your hand, so what? But they create a story about it. That's the average human being. We create stories in our head out of nothing, you know. And then the second conversation we want to change is the conversation we have with each other. What kind of conversations are you having with the people in your life? With the people around you? Are you generating a visionary outlook on life? Are you generating a futuristic outlook on life? Are you generating in people's mind this spark that is divine, that says, look up and see you flying up there? Excuse me, not physically flying, but aspiring up, aspiring for greatness, aspiring to be on the summit of your mountain, instead of scratching around the dirt like chickens, looking for little worms. They say to us, go after money, you need money, you need money. And the whole of humanity, 8 billion people, 7.9 billion people on this planet, everybody's thinking, I need to make money, I need to make money, I need to make money. And guess what? They live a wasted life. The big billionaires and millionaires, they give away their money because they know money is not it. Power it is. You gotta accumulate some power, and you accumulate some power by declaring who you are or who you intend to be, and live with integrity into that declaration. To the world, you declare to the world, this is who I am. Right? Declaration is extremely powerful. Like America came into being by making a declaration. The nation of America, which today controls the world and has for the past century, the American century, came into being as a nation, became America by a simple declaration called, of course, the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence is what brought America into being as a nation. Same with your life. You can do that. Declare to the world, this is who I'm going to be. And if a war comes, if a civil war comes, like happened with America, civil war, nobody's going to bring a civil war against you. But you know what I mean. Declare to the world who you want to be, who you are, and then live with integrity into that. So we want to change the conversation inside people's head. We want to change the conversation people are having among themselves, in their family, in their friends, whoever. We want to change the conversation that people are having with the universe, with God, with whatever you want to call your cosmic consciousness. People believe God is hateful and God allows bad things to happen, and the universe is doing this and the universe is doing that, and astrology this and astrology that. That's a cosmic conversation. So we have conversations on 3 levels as human beings: the individual person, with the self, with those around us, and with the grand scheme of the universe. Those conversations are constantly going on because in our minds it's so cluttered, it's so full. We don't quiet ourselves. We don't know how to quiet ourselves and to listen to the spirit within us, that still, soft, quiet voice that says, who are you as a human being? What does it mean for you to be a human being? What are you doing with that spark, that divine energy that is in you, that causes you to dream and to aspire and never be satisfied with the smallness of this world, of the world system crushing our spirit? What are we doing with it? So, life is interesting. Life is interesting. We're back with our show. This month we're running a series because we're rolling out Sims books, right? We have 12 books that we're rolling out. Each one is a Sims book. We're developing an app that would release the technology of what a Sims book is, and we're going to release our books in the format of Sims books. So the reason I haven't been publishing my books, for those of you who know that I have books sitting in the publishing pipeline for years, is that I didn't release them because I was waiting to release them in my technology. The technology that we've developed to cause people not to have to depend on the traditional publishing industry but to depend on they can themselves work with our platform and produce their own Sims book. And Sims book not only declares your intention for the life that you want to live, but it also inherent in the potential of a Sims book is a series of streams of income. For example, let me say this. I know people can copy our idea and all that, but if there's a company that can come and do this, and we don't have to put in the hard work and try to I don't convince people, try to inspire small-minded people to come on our team and to play a part and to show up and to really sink their teeth into something great, a life that is not small and you know, how can people live like that? I don't know. But I lived like that for many years, so I guess it's unconsciousness, right? People are not awakened. We don't blame people for how they live. It's the system. And in us changing the conversation, we hoping by words and language and conversation, the quality of conversation, would change human beings, individual human beings, individual persons, and eventually, maybe over a generation or two, we change the world. If you can get 1 million people, 1 billion people writing and publishing their own book, and everybody working, the banking system, the political system, the whole system of the world, supporting individuals writing and publishing their story. That's your goal in life, to write and publish your story. Not the story that has happened to you or your past, but a story that you want to see happen. Your dreams, your aspirations. We want to rebuild the world system, one by individual, through eventually having enough power so that the political system, the religious system, the legal system, the whole system of the world would eventually come to this idea and say, you know what? Why do we build highways and car companies and, you know, Elon Musk is building Tesla around the same idea as the industrial age, which is cars. So the knowledge age, they're doing the same thing that they did with the industrial age. Let's build cars and get people on highways and get people moving and driving and all that. No, we need to follow Vannevar Bush and people like Doug Engelbart and the great thinkers of humanity, Einstein and all those people, and say to them, and say to the human being, let's augment your intellect. Let's augment your intellect. Write and publish a book, a Sims book. You can make a living on it if you put some effort into it. You can publish in your Sims book, it will be print, it will be audio, it will be ebook, it will be merchandise, it will be courses. All those come out of your blueprint. You have something valuable for humanity, and we are building that platform for that valuable thing that is in you, that energy, that gift, that spark, that divine thing that for all of human history, the system has stifled in every single human being. That's our vision. That's how crazy we are. We're setting out to make a difference. We're setting out to change the conversation one by one by one. And who can't deal with it? Who can't deal with me and the way I talk and the way I relate to people? Because that's my goal, to change your conversation internally, socially, and cosmically, if there's such a word, cosmic conversation, whatever. We're setting out to change the conversation. Join me tomorrow. I'm not sure exactly what time we're going to be on every day, but it's around, now it's spring, so it's getting dark later here in Canada anyway, so in North America. So we'll be on 6, 7 o'clock, whatever, in the evening, okay? Join me. Listen, guys, I need, if this, whatever I'm saying, if it resonates with you, I know it's an hour-long show and it's hard to sit on the screen and watch things like this, but we are about depth. We're about substance, not superficiality, okay? So if you engage with us, if you want to live your dream, well, not to live your dream, but develop your dream, write it and declare it to the world, and then walk on that path and live the most inspiring, the most joyous and peaceful life, because your singular focus is not on petty stuff and small-minded stuff and petty people and small-minded people, but is on how do I make a difference with my life in the simple, answering the simple question, not with words, but with my very life. what does it mean to be a human being. I'm going to show the world what it means from what I see is possible, right? So thank you for listening to me, those of you who don't, because I know a lot of people. We need to market this thing more. I don't know. I have a team of people now, a couple of people who are trying to help me market it, but we'll see where it goes. When the time is right, it's gonna take off and be a global. We're gonna awaken a new global consciousness. That's our goal. All right. So take care. Have a good evening, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.